and the District of Columbia have enacted medical marijuana laws. Those of us who have been advocating for medical marijuana for several years are hoping that this session, the Maryland General Assembly and the Governor will pass House Bill 302, Maryland Medical Marijuana Act. House Bill 302 establishes a program regulated by the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene that will set up procedures for registry identification cards for patients and caregivers, compassion centers that would be licensed by the state, whose purpose would be for the distribution of medical marijuana. It would establish a medical marijuana advisory board and any and all administrative procedures as determined by the bill. As stated in my press release, it only takes the sad experience of losing a loved one due to the ravages of cancer, not because of the illness itself, but simply because the person could no longer eat or drink, to make one realize that if we can help relieve suffering and give dignity and productivity back to patients, then we have a responsibility to do that in the state of Maryland. I have with me Mr. Rosenfield, who is a current medical marijuana patient under the federal medical marijuana program. He's going to talk to you about his experience and what he lives with day to day and how he can help us in the state of Maryland.
Thank you, Del.Cheryl. Appreciate it. Yeah, my name is Irv Rosenfield. I am the longest surviving of the final 4 federal medical marijuana or cannabis patients alive in the United States. For over 30 years, the federal government has been sending me this tin can of marijuana every 25 days. It has 300 cannabis cigarettes in there that are legal. Again, I'm a federal patient. Federal law supersedes state law. The problem is the program I'm under was shut down in 1992 by George Bush Sr. There were 13 of us that were grandfathered in. Back in 92 and 93, they didn't have the AIDS cocktails they do today, and they died. There were only 4 of us left alive. I'm very fortunate to have the right medicine. I discovered marijuana quite by accident that worked medically for my severe bone disorder. I have multiple congenital cartilaginous exostosis and Ovarian syndrome pseudo-hypoparathyroidism, which means in lay terms I have bone tumors on the ends of long bones, mostly like this, growing outwardly into the muscles and the veins, making it very painful. But more important, it stretches the muscle in the vein, and I can tear it. If you tear a vein, you can have a clot, you can break off, go to your heart, your brain, your lungs, you're dead. What I discovered quite by accident after all these major operations and taking all these prescription drugs such as morphine, quaalude, Valium, all this in the 60s and the early 70s, well, I discovered quite by accident in college in 1971 that cannabis was the best medicine, better than any of the narcotics that were given me. It serves as a muscle relaxant, anti-inflammatory, pain, and it's kept my tumors from growing. I was a patient. I wasn't a criminal. So I didn't want to take a chance of being arrested. So I went back to Virginia, my hometown, my home state, and I took on the federal government. It took me 10 years. I got the state law in Virginia changed in 1979. I had University of Virginia Law School behind me. Finally, FDA held hearings for me. I won those hearings in 1982. At that point, I became the second person in the United States that the United States federal government on a farm in Mississippi that's been there since 1968. Your tax money, my tax money, pays for this. So here I've been getting this medicine for 30 years. And guess what? I put in reports every 6 months to study. It's an experimental new drug. The federal government is not studying this at all. They don't care. They don't want to know. Why don't they want to know? Pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical industry doesn't want to see medical cannabis because then you won't buy their drugs. So they're against us. You have lobby organizations such as the petrochemical companies. Because if medical marijuana becomes available, hemp could be next. That would hurt their bottom line. The tree and lumber industry, they don't want to see growing hemp. They grow trees for 40 years. So you have all these major lobby organizations that are trying to stop medical cannabis. And what I look at is this. I don't care how bad people say it is. If they say it's bad, it does this, it does that to you, I look at them and I said, if all that's true and you really believe it, explain me what the other 3 patients that are alive. In 2001, we did a complete study of brainwave testing, IQ testing, you name it. We want to prove to see once and for all if cannabis had harmed us in any way possible. Because we believe some of the rhetoric the government said that maybe it did. But whatever harm it did, the benefits far outweighed whatever harm. Well, guess what? After the study, all 4 of us were perfectly normal. There wasn't one what's the word?
Abnormality.
There you go, okay. Anything that we had, there wasn't anything bad about us, okay? So, you know, that's why I'm living proof. Okay, opposition can stand up and say how bad it is, but I'll say, have you tried it? Probably not. Positive people that have not tried it, doctors say it might work, you know, might do this, it might do that, they've never tried it. I have. Now I'm a board member of an organization called Patients at a Time. We're the only organization in the United States that is sanctioned by the American Medical Association to teach doctors about medical cannabis, where they get continuing education credit. So the next person that says it's not a medicine, ask them where their medical degree came from, and then second say, do you know more than the American Medical Association? Because they want them to learn about it. And the American Nurses Association, largest organization of nurses in the country. Guess what? They sanction Patients at a Time to teach nurses about medical cannabis to where they get continuing education. Largest nursing organization in the country. Why do they want nurses learn about it if it's not a medicine? Because it is. Now, with show of hands, are there any veterans in the room? Okay. You know the veteran stance on medical cannabis. I'll let you know, okay? If you're a patient, a veteran, and you're taking opiates in this country, they are going to do a piss test or urinalysis on you, okay, blood work. And they're going to check to make sure you're not taking other drugs. Well, guess what? If you show metabolites of cannabis in your blood or in your urine, the VA has said that if you're in a state that has a medical marijuana law, you're okay, no problem. But if you're in a state that doesn't have a medical marijuana law, we're going to tell our doctors to start withholding treatment. Start withholding treatment on a veteran that served our country. So right now, 18 states have passed laws to protect that veteran. D.C. has passed a law to protect that veteran. My home state of Florida hasn't. Your state of Maryland hasn't. Let's protect our veterans. Okay, this is important. When somebody has a devastating disease, all they care about is getting the best medicine possible. That's it. That's what they care about. A physician who really is caring, all they care about is to help that patient. That's what their job is. So right now, in our country, we have doctors that are practicing medicine without the use of cannabis. Now, why don't doctors use cannabis? Well, guess what? They don't use it because the medical schools haven't started teaching it yet. I like to point out to people, with a show of hands, who's heard of endorphins? Show of hands, everybody has heard of endorphins. Guess what? 40 years ago, nobody had heard of it because the medical schools hadn't started teaching it yet. Well, guess what? We all, as humans, have an endocannabinoid system throughout our body, naturally. We produce cannabis naturally in our body. Every animal has that. They're not teaching medical schools, but yet we have millions of cannabinoid receptors all throughout our body, all throughout our major organs. And when you ingest cannabis, it gets excited. And that's where the high comes from, because it's excited to get this. It needs this medicine. It needs this. In our country, since it was illegal from 1860 to 1937. It was in our medicines, tinctures, mostly tinctures, Merck, Eli Lilly, all the major pharmaceuticals manufactured. It was in our foods, so people ingested it. And guess what? We didn't have the autoimmune diseases that we have today. We didn't have lupus. We didn't have Crohn's. We didn't have all these autoimmune diseases that we have today. Why is that? Because we don't have enough cannabis in our system. A lot of people don't produce enough naturally. Kind of like insulin. They need help. And so we need to help. And so until medical schools do it, you can't expect doctors to know what they're doing. So you've got to take time to educate them. And through Patients at a Time is a great website to do that. Now also, 5 years ago, I realized that I wasn't getting any younger. I just turned 60 years old last week. And so 5 years ago, I decided that God forbid something happens to me, everything that I know that I've done, and again, I have pioneered with Robert Randall, the first patient from D.C. We pioneered this entire movement in this country. If I died, that would die with me. All the stories. So I wrote a book. Okay, it's called My Medicine, How I Convinced the U.S. Government to Provide My Marijuana and Help Launch a National Movement. This is a fantastic lobbying tool. This gives my entire history as far as my lung disorder and what I did the 10-year struggle of taking on the federal government. Then my struggles as far as being a federal patient and the police and this, that, and the other. But the importance is it tells you how you got to where we are here today. So why did I fly up here from Florida? I wasn't sure to enjoy the cold. I came up here because when someone has a devastating disease, like I said, all they want is the best medicine, and they want They want to feel good about themselves. And, you know, they've done something bad, something that's bad in their life, they've turned it into a positive. So I feel like what I've done to my bone disorder is I've said to the F you. Okay, look what I've done because of you. I've helped millions and millions of people. Like I said, I've pioneered this industry, this whole movement with Robert Randall, again from D.C. To let you know who he was, he lived in D.C. He was arrested in 1976 and for glaucoma. Okay, gotcha. Okay, and so, okay, and he was the first patient. And with his help, and with my help, we've done what we've done, and now we have 18 states that are legal, and hopefully we can make Maryland one of those in the future. Thank you.
So much. We're going to bring up Delegate Dr. Moorheim, who's been really fighting the fight for medical marijuana in the state of Maryland, as well as myself.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. I'm just going to address a couple of points. First, most of you know I'm the only physician in the Maryland General Assembly, and I'm a strong supporter of finding the best way to make marijuana medically available in a responsible and safe way in our state. We have several bills in, 2 from me, 1 from Cheryl Glen, Delegate Glen. House Bill 1101 is one of the bills that came out of the work group. And based on information that I'm now going to share with you, I'm going to be supporting that bill strongly. A couple of things have changed. First, the Maryland State Medical Society, MedCai, which has never before endorsed a medical marijuana bill, is supporting House Bill 1101. The Legislative Black Caucus, which has not supported a medical marijuana bill before, is supporting House Bill 1101. The Maryland Psychiatric Society, which has not supported a medical marijuana bill before, is supporting House Bill 1101. Other groups that have supported medical marijuana are continuing, like the Maryland Nurse Association. Most significantly, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Dr. Sharfstein and the administration will be testifying in favor of House Bill 1101. They'll be offering some amendments. I think the amendments work well with the bill, and for that reason I'm intending to withdraw House Bill 1100 and support House Bill 1101. Is it everything anybody and everybody would want? No, but is it a major first step about which we can build consensus? I think it is, and I think it's always important to take what you can get and move forward, and I think it's a responsible way to go. So I'm just sharing with you that's my personal position. Every legislator gets to figure out their own, but I think it's a significant step in the right direction.
What's the difference between the 2 bills?
I'm going to leave that for tomorrow's bill presentation. Okay, I got to go back to committee, and we're voting on things. So
Let me ask one question. What amendments is the governor going to propose?
the amendments of the governor are really sort of technical amendments that clarify a number of things, creates a special fund to address one of the governor's concern. If there is prosecution of state employees in another state, the governor can review the program. I think it's an extraordinarily unlikely event, but we allow that. The rest of the amendments are just clarifying certain things in certain ways. I mean, there's nothing that I'm concerned about, and I appreciate Dr. Sharfstein's efforts to work on the bill. This bill comes out of a work group that was created by legislation in 2011, a broad stakeholder work group. And so we're all working in good faith to get this done, and I think this is a positive way to go. So I'm going to be supporting House Bill 1101, and hopefully our colleagues in the legislature will do so. And every legislator gets to make up their own mind how they see fit. Thanks.
Did any of the patients who are here today want to come up and say anything?
Yeah.
Hunter, would you like to make any statements? Okay.
Delegate, I'm sorry, before he speaks, why not just attempt to decriminalize marijuana in Maryland altogether?
Well, ultimately, I'm sure that that's where we might end up someday, but understanding the fight that we've undertaken for several years now to get medical marijuana available to our patients, that's not going to happen. The decriminalization is not going to move forward this session. Let me just clarify one thing. I agree to disagree with my colleague, Delegate Moorheim, because what I'm interested in doing is immediately providing relief to our parents. House Bill 1101 won't get us there. And so I am supporting my bill, House Bill 302, which is also a priority of the Maryland Legislative Black Caucus, because we know that there's a great disproportionate penalization of people of color when it comes to marijuana or any other types of drugs. More people are in jail who are people of color. You wanted to say something?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Barry Considine. I have been coming down here since 2007 to fight for this law. This year I'm supporting Delegate Glen's bill, House Bill 302, for the very reason that the delegate mentioned. Under Delegate Moorheim's plan, we're going to set up these co-ops and everything, whereas under House Bill 302, it will give me the right to personal cultivation. And that gets me completely out of the drug market. It gives me the ability to start growing my medicine in my home immediately, and within the time it takes to grow the plant, my medicine will be available to me. I have worked the last couple of years with Delegate Moorheim. I applaud his effort. I support his ideas. I have always said, every time I have testified, that what we need to do is we need to take these two bills and put them together. We need all the protections, all the government regulations that Delegate Moorheim is looking for in his bill, but with the patient's ability to just skip over the co-ops and the dispensaries and be able to grow our medicine in our home where it's not going to cost us anything. The street prices of cannabis today is between $10 and $30 to $40 a gram, depending on how much you want. When you use cannabis at the rate that I would use cannabis at 10 grams a gram a day, that's $300 a month. Whereas if I can cultivate my own, that's $300 a month that's not coming out of my pocket. Thank you.
What does cannabis do for you? How does it?
Now, for me, it's very much like Irv. Suffered polio as a child. I have horrendous muscle cramps. I have arthritis, compressing disc, herniated disc, and the pain provides pain relief from the neuromuscular symptoms that I have, basically.
Okay.
Any others?
Let me ask Dr. Pelstein also, kind of summarize for us, and how does this affect the cannabis and marijuana? What does it do?
Well, I explain what it does for me is it serves as an anti-inflammatory, muscle relaxant, a painkiller, and it's kept the tumors from growing. I've not had a tumor grow since I was 21, and I just turned 60. So for me, it saved my life. I mean, if I didn't have it, I probably wouldn't be alive today. And that's something else. I mean, if I were alive, I'd be on disability. I'd be a drain on society. And how many people in this state are homebound because they don't have the right medicine? Where if we could get them the right medicine, there's a good chance that they could lead productive lives and get off disability and save Maryland a lot of money.
You think it's because of the marijuana and not the other medications you're taking?
I don't take any other medications now. I haven't since 1990. So it's definitely cannabis. It's definitely marijuana. It's tremendous. And it's a benign substance. I mean, that's just it. There shouldn't be a hysteria to it. It's a very benign substance. So.
In closing, let me thank the medical cannabis advocates of Maryland who were responsible for bringing Mr. Rosenfeld here. And I want to say to anybody who's listening to please email, call, write, come down tomorrow. We have our bill hearing is at 2 tomorrow in the joint hearing room in the Legislative Services building. But please get in contact with your legislators and the governor and the speaker and the president of the Senate to let them know that we deserve the same protections that Mr. Rosenfeld has. Our patients deserve the same productivity and quality of life. And it's no reason for Maryland not to move forward when we have right next door in the seat of our government, Washington, D.C., they are putting out RFPs for dispensaries now. So please help us with this effort, and I thank you so much.